Well, hi everyone. Have you all been? Just looking at all your comments. Where is our captain? All hail Captain Eric. Captain Eric forever. All hail. Wow, that's a lot of all hail Captain Erics. I just realized. Oh, there's the first few hi Erics. Hey, howdy Eric. All hail Captain Eric. Oh, you guys are nice. Big Bash, nice beard, Eric. Oh, thanks. Enjoy it because tomorrow or the day after I'm gonna get it trimmed. So this is the biggest it's gonna get right now. We've got a family event happening next week, so I've got to get it trimmed. Oh, Ethan's drawings, Jacinda, Big Bash, The Dark Lord, JWK, Robin, Pizza Man. It's been a bit since I've seen you. Great to see you again. Jess, it's always great to see you. Dogan, great to see you. Josh Man, great to see you too. The Movie King 3000, Yo Magic 21. A lot of you are all joining in, which is good. Jess says, shave it, Eric. I will be tomorrow or the day after. If I can get an appointment in tomorrow, then cool, but otherwise it'll be the day after. The volume is a bit quiet on your end. Do you guys think the volume is a bit quiet, or can you hear me clearly? Don't worry about that, Big Bash. I don't expect you to make it every single stream. The Norwegian Alien. It's funny, I don't know if some of these are newer users, or if this is just new people newer subscribers, or if this is just some of you guys who have just changed your name. I can't tell. Spirit Hero says the beard suits you, Eric. I think so. It does too. I like both. I like having a big beard, and I like when you get it trimmed down. Pop Culture says the volume is fine. Pizza Man says I can hear. Gwen says she thinks it's too quiet. They say they can hear. Let me just try bringing it closer to my face. This is as loud as it can go. So maybe, does this sound better when I'm closer up? Let me see, because it isn't going to red levels. Let's see if I can change that. Give you much settings at least on the advanced settings. Here we go. I don't know what this one does. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to increase it. You guys tell me what you think. Is it getting louder? Or is it getting not loud? Because it looks like it's saying that it's getting louder. Big Bash, I agree. JWK says you are fine. But am I better now? Am I? Because Omer has given a thumbs up. It does seem like the levels have gone higher than usual. There is a delay on the chat, by the way, so that's why I'm struggling. I'm not struggling, I'm waiting a bit. It's louder. I hear you better. Okay, that's good. It's funny, I've never sort of like tweaked these settings before. I just did it now for the first time, so that's great. From now on, you guys will hear me like this. A lot of you are saying it's way better now. That is good. Ethan's drawing. Yeah, that's good. Thank you guys all for the feedback. That's great. In future live streams, hopefully we'll keep it at this level. So yeah, we've got a lot to talk about. We have. So get ready. This is going to be one jam-packed live stream. And as always, if you ever want to ask any questions or anything like that, then be sure to either send me a super chat, which I should link to you guys right now. But yeah, be sure to send me a super chat on YouTube or send me a Streamlabs chat using this link that I've just put into the chat, and I'm going to pin it to the top. So yeah, it's been quite a hectic last few days because I've been working so hard on getting these next couple of videos out. I've already done a Snow White trailer reaction for the recent Snow White teaser trailer. That's actually one of my favorite trailer reactions because I actually had to pause the trailer and just react to what was going on, to what I was seeing. Because we finally get some answers with regards to Snow White. Some questions that we had about what they're going to do with the dwarves, we finally have an answer now that we've got the trailer. So I would definitely recommend that if you guys want to see that. It's up on my Patreon and it's up on my YouTube memberships, and you can... That is a very interesting trailer. It is actually funny when I have to stop it and I have to actually see what and describe what I think of what I saw. But yeah. So yeah, be sure to check that out. I'm very sure that you guys will enjoy that. And I'm also working on that, like I said, the Batman, the animated series versus the Batman Cape Crusader show. That versus video is coming across very nicely. I've almost edited all the footage into it. Then I've got to record the intro, and then I've got to record the conclusion and put the footage in that. So yeah, the video's coming together very nicely. It is getting hot up in this attic, so you know, it's where I have to edit and work. It is tricky that way. Oh, thanks, Khan. That'll be very helpful. Like I say, with you timestamping these streams, I appreciate it, and I'm sure other viewers who come and check these live streams out, I'm sure they appreciate it as well. I agree, Big Bash. Saeed, I do agree, the Daredevil trailer does look good, but at the same time, I'm still concerned. Yeah, I don't... They said that it's supposed to be smarter. I don't believe or trust that it is smarter until I see it for myself. I don't think Marvel are particularly smart when it comes to political talking points, so we'll have a look and see. But yeah, there's it does look... I do like the look of it, I'll say that. I hope they do right by the characters, because they sure as heck weren't going to with the original version of Daredevil Born Again that they were going to do. 60 people watching the stream, that's great. Like I said, we're going to be talking about everything Disney announced at D23, everything Pixar announced at D23, everything Lucasfilm announced, and everything Marvel announced, and we're going to be going into all of it. Big Bash, for me, it's 10:25 in the evening right now. Pizza Man, that video I've actually put a pause on. I'm still going to be working on it, but not as fast as I was before, so there's a pause on that. But the video, I did record a lot of it, I did edit quite a bit, but I still haven't continued it because I'm working on all this other stuff. But I'll get to it again at some point. But yeah, I'm sure Big Bash, I don't know if they have actually. I don't think so. Whoops. Hang on a second. Just some other videos. I'm just having a look at how much viewers are in the stream. 70. Cool. Yeah, Jess, those posters looked good. Mighty Power, my next Versus video is going to be Batman the Animated Series versus Batman the Caped Crusader, and then Puss in Boots 1 versus Puss in Boots 2. Those are going to be my next 2 Versus videos, and I've got other videos in between that I'm going to be releasing, and plenty more videos that I release on Patreon and on YouTube memberships. Soon we're going to be doing a Let's Watch of Loki, which is going to be exclusive for YouTube members. So yeah. And yeah, Movie King, I have heard Deadpool and Wolverine has hit $1 billion. We will talk about that at some point as well. Alright then, so there's, let's see, there's 69 of you in the stream. Let's go ahead and start talking about the stories. So, D23 came about, which is Disney's presentation for everything the company is going to release. And what we're going to do, before we talk about that actually, is Iron Warrior. He's done a $5 super chat. He's not attached any message to it, which is interesting. But thanks very much, buddy, for the support. I really appreciate that. And let me just quickly get this ready for Streamlabs. So if anyone has any questions and they want to send it to me through Streamlabs, I can see it right here. Yep, no Streamlabs chats yet. That's okay, I'm on top of everything. Alright then, so let's move on to what's going on. So, first thing we're going to talk about is Disney itself. So, the first thing that they announced at Disney, now this is in no particular order, some will be, but others will not. But the first thing that we're going to talk about is Moana 2. Moana 2 is going to come out near the end of the year, and they're working on it, and they just announced that, yeah, we're working on it, we're going to be doing it, and all that kind of stuff. So they just basically did a quick announcement of that. The next thing they talked about is the Mufasa trailer. Now, the Mufasa trailer, I saw the second trailer, a trailer reaction on my Patreon will go up soon, and you guys can watch it. But there's some things that really stood out to me about this trailer that I don't like. They are really doing what they can, it feels, to change what the original story was saying with Mufasa's backstory and with his relations to Scar, who's going by a different name here. So I'm assuming they're going to say that Scar is the nickname he had when he actually got a scar, which is just stupid. It just looks so silly. It looks like they're saying that Mufasa is not even like blood family with Scar. He's just, was it like adopted or a best friend? So it really is stupid what they're doing. It shows that Disney have no backbone again. It's like back then, The Lion King, the first one, it had balls with what it did. Having Scar kill his brother and then having him try to go after his nephew. But no one ever once said to Simba, by the way, Scar is not really your uncle. It's like, this does not fit. So why are you guys trying to put that into this and make it out like that's what it is? It's really stupid. And also, if I zoom into this image here, you'll see that right over here is Lin-Manuel Miranda. Oh, sorry, Lin-Manuel Miranda? Lin-Manuel Miranda. I don't know what happened with me there. I got a little tongue twisted. It's really ridiculous that they're just hiring him for all the songs. How about they go to the people that wrote the songs for the original animated Lion King and they tell them to create some original songs? But I'm sick and tired of them going to Lin-Manuel Miranda. He did the Little Mermaid movie, the recent one, and I didn't like any of the new songs that they did in that. And the song, like the Scuttlebutt, like that was so stupid, that was. So yeah, I'm sick and tired of seeing Lin-Manuel Miranda doing all these songs. I want them to bring in more variety of people like they used to. That's what they used to do back in the day. And we got such great like variety of songs from the likes of Beauty and the Beast, Mulan, Aladdin, and so on and so forth. There was just so much variety. But now they keep going to this one guy, and I just feel like he hasn't got that same passion in him that he used to have with his earlier songs. But they just keep sticking to him, which is really quite ridiculous. And I feel like there's a lot of other unnoticed talent because of it. So yeah, Iron Warrior has done another $5 super chat saying that he forgot to write the message on his first one. That's okay. He says, I thought the Mandalorian teaser looked pretty good. The Red Hulk CGI looked decent in the new teaser. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. Although I don't remember seeing a Mandalorian teaser, so at least I did not find it. Because a lot of the stuff they revealed in D23 did not make it on the internet for the rest of us to see, like the Daredevil trailer. So yeah, some of it got leaked by people that recorded it, but I didn't see all of those leaked footages. I saw some, but not all of it. Thanks again for that $5 super chat. Big Bash is quoting me. Lin-Manuel Miranda. Yeah, I know. Anyway, Spirit Hero says he's fallen off during the past few years, hasn't he? Yes, he has. Lin-Manuel Miranda is just... He doesn't seem like he's passionate with the songs that he does anymore like he once was. So yeah, I definitely agree with that. Okay, so yeah, we got Mufasa. And the next thing that we have is Toy Story 5. Now, the interesting thing about Toy Story 5 is that a lot of us are not interested in it, because Toy Story 4 got a lot of praise when it came out. People enjoyed it when they saw it. But as the movie has lived on, it's left a bad taste in people's mouths, specifically with how they ended the franchise. They ended it so beautifully in Toy Story 3, and Toy Story 4, they ended it again by having Woody separated from his friends and staying with Bo Peep. I did not like that. In fact, I was talking to my sister just yesterday when I talked about Toy Story 5 being announced, and even she said she didn't like that either, and she didn't... And the interesting thing is that none of us have rewatched that movie. The only time I've seen Toy Story 4 was in the theater when it came out. I've never had the need to watch it again, which is interesting because it says a lot about just how little we seem to care. Like, these movies, they seem like they're good, but it just goes to show how they don't really have much rewatch value. They might have been good when we saw it, but part of the appeal of these Disney movies is that they have so much rewatch value, and when they come out, you want to watch them again at home. But it speaks volumes that with something like Toy Story 4, it's the first Toy Story sequel where a lot of us did not want to watch it again. So yeah, I was very disappointed with Toy Story 4. I liked it when it came out, but as time has gone on, it has not aged well, Toy Story, the fourth movie. So when I heard they were going to do a Toy Story 5, I really did not care. I was like, they should have stopped with Toy Story 3. But they've got Toy Story 5 going now, and as you can see, if I click this right here... Where is it? There it is. You can see that Woody is right there with the rest of the crew. So Woody is actually back in this movie despite having left his friends. Now, we all knew that would happen. We knew they weren't going to keep him out. they were definitely going to bring Woody back in. But yeah, it's just confirmed that he's there. And it's very interesting what is going on. If you look at the characters, they're looking at a kid who's under the sheets and is using an iPad, what looks like a tablet device. And this is something that I do like about the concept of Toy Story 5, is that the movie is going to be talking... Ooh, excuse me. The movie is going to be talking about how kids have moved away from toys and now they spend all their time on smartphones and tablets. And that's a really good concept, because that is something I've noticed, and not just toys but also games. But before I quickly talk about that, I see that Crazy Cat Lady has done a $5 super chat. Thank you very much. And she says, it's been 10 years since Robin Williams dies, and in Tales of Two Brothers, that was Scar's real name, which means Tucker, which is Swahili for gob. Do you mean garbage? Because you just wrote down garbag. Wow, that's interesting. I was not aware of that. So that's actually quite interesting. Thank you very much for that information. That's really quite fascinating. Whether or not it makes for a better origin story for Scar and Mufasa, that will have to remain to be seen. I think it does not make a good origin for them. But anyway, thanks very much, Crazy Cat Lady. But yeah, so this is going to be delving into that. And something I think they also should delve into is video games. Because when I was a kid, toys were huge. I remember still to this day, when the first Spider-Man movie came out, I actually wanted the Spider-Man toys. I wanted a Spider-Man action figure and a Green Goblin action figure with the glider and everything, and I wanted to make them fight and everything. And I used to do that with toys when I was younger. It's like you're basically living a fantasy, essentially, that you're reliving these big action sequences, or you're making big action sequences of your own. At least that's how I used to play with toys like that. And then on the other side, with girls, like little girls, like my sister, for example, like they would pretend that they were cooking or something, or they would pretend they're making tea, tea parties and things. But games have really taken over from that. You don't have to play make-believe in your imagination with something that's not really there. Now, you play video games, and video games have gotten to such a level where there is no point in playing make-believe with yourself or with toys. Because back when you were younger, say if you want to pretend to be Spider-Man or Batman, well, if you want to pretend to be Spider-Man, there's a Spider-Man game now, the Insomniac Spider-Man PS4 game. And if you want to pretend to be Batman, there's the Arkham Batman games. You don't have to pretend. You can really experience it. And with Arkham Knight, you can pretend that you're driving the Batmobile. So that means that you need no Spider-Man toy, no Batman toy, no Batmobile toy. You just need those games. And those games, you can now play them not just on TV with consoles, but you can play them on something like the Steam Deck now. Or the Nintendo Switch. Not Arkham Knight on Nintendo Switch, but Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, which run quite well on there. So you can basically play games like that and live out those fantasies in a much more interesting and fleshed out virtual world, which in many ways is far more interesting than how your mind can interpret all this stuff. So toys have kind of like just lost their appeal now. That's why kids are on tablets, smartphones, and even play video games. And even though we're seeing a tablet device here that the toys are looking at a kid playing with, I really hope that they bring in video games as well, because video games have also really killed off the whole appeal of buying toys, and I noticed that as I was growing up. So yeah, that's a really good sort of topic for Toy Story 5 to delve into. So I hope that they do delve into that, and they delve into it very well. And like I said, video games, they really got to get into video games and tackle the Nintendo side of things and the PSP Sony side of things and these portable PC type side of things, because portable video games have really also become a new thing as well. Not just portable video games, but PlayStations and Xboxes and things and PCs. They've really taken off, and they've kind of killed the toy industry in a way. In fact, the only people that really get toys now are toddlers who are not allowed to use smartphones and things, or adults, fans, who want to basically get action figures and just preserve them just for collecting purposes or things like that. They are the only ones nowadays that get that. And Pizza Man says as well, I use Legos. Exactly, there's Legos as well. But little kids don't really play with toys anymore. I remember back in the day, kids would jump around with capes or dressed as Batman or dressed as Spider-Man. And then when the MCU came around, they went around with Thor's hammer and things. So they've really, toys have really taken a back seat, which is a shame, because I do think there was an appeal to when kids would play with toys. It was a very interesting sort of like way of seeing them develop, letting them play with a toy. It's like they're developing their minds, they're coming up with interesting scenarios to have fun. I used to do that as well. My brother and sisters, we used to play together as well, but you don't get that sense of playing together anymore. As we were moving away from toys into games consoles, like with the Nintendo DS, well, this is a original DS that I just bought off of eBay recently. Don't worry, this will be on my game show. I'll talk about this. This is not the DS I grew up with. I grew up with a DS Lite. But basically, just imagine this is a DS Lite. I haven't got it on hand right now. But me and my brothers and sisters, we would use our consoles eventually to play two-player games with each other. With Mario Kart or with games like Call of Duty when we were kids. There were a lot of multiplayer games we used to play with each other on the DS. So it's like that's something that we eventually evolved into, is that we played video games like that. But when we were younger, it was very good for a kid's imagination to be able to get a toy and then just really go out there and like, your mind has no limits essentially, and you're trying, the toy does have limits, but your mind doesn't, and you're trying to make these really cool scenarios with the toys that you have. But that's been lost now. Kids now are just really into playing on their iPads and tablets and things, and it's just, their minds are not developing in that with that level of creativity, and they're playing Fortnite as well. Which, funnily enough, is what Disney owns now, isn't it, Fortnite? So they're participating to the problem of kids not wanting to buy toys and things, which is why the merchandising, I'm sure, for Disney is not as strong as it used to be. But yes, this is a very good, interesting topic for Toy Story 5 to tackle, and I really would be interested to see how they would tackle that. However, I still do not think there is a reason for another Toy Story movie. I still think it should have ended with Toy Story 3. So, those are my thoughts on Toy Story 5. Although it's got a good concept, I don't think it's necessary for them to make another one. So yeah, comment below with your thoughts. Let me know what you think of Toy Story 5. Do you think we need another one? Did you think at first we did not need another one, but now that you've heard this subject matter that they're going to be discussing, do you think now it would be interesting to have another one? Comment below with your thoughts and let me know what you think we're going to get. And also let me know what you think about Woody coming back in Toy Story 5. How do you think they're going to do it? Do you think it will be done naturally, organically, or do you think they'll just force it and just have it happen very quickly just to get Woody in with the group as quick as they can? Be sure to let me know. Thanks very much for watching this section of the video, guys. I really do appreciate it. So, let's see. A lot of you are saying, Pop Culture Fan says, Toy Story 5 sounds nice in concept, but it's not necessary. Yes, it does. I agree with that. Big Bash, it is bad for kids' development to use technology all day. I agree. I'm an adult, and I feel like it's even bad for me to use technology as much as I do, quite frankly. So, yeah. Selena says, I'll give it a chance because of the idea and the director. That's actually an interesting thing. The director of Toy Story 5, let me just double check. This is the director for Toy Story 5 is actually really quite big. Let's see. They got, let's double check his name, Andrew Stanton. Now, and he's the director and writer. And it's basically a movie about toys versus tech, according to him. Now, let's see, he'll direct the next installment. And let's see. Go head to head with electronics. This director is actually a very good director, but he actually got fired for making a certain movie, which I will explain to you right now. Let's see, where is... Oh, his, Andrew Stanton... Because you'll be surprised about his filmography. Okay, so, Andrew Stanton, he... Let's see. Now, he's been a screenwriter for these movies. I don't know if he directed them. Let's take a quick look. Ooh, no, he did direct that. You'll be surprised. Give me a quick second. Let me just double check everything. Yes, okay. Andrew Stanton is a well-known screenwriter, and he basically helped write, and he also directed. Give me a second. Yeah, so he was a screenwriter and director for the original Finding Nemo, for WALL-E, A Bug's Life, and he also did Finding Dory, which is, I think, not particularly good, from what I've heard people say. But he also did the movie that killed his career for a while, John Carter. A lot of the people, that movie was a huge financial flop. The budget was $250 million, and apparently it cost more, like double that for marketing and things. And the movie only made like $284 million worldwide, so that was a renowned flop. A lot of people lost their jobs for that, successful people, just because of that one failure. So he is a very good and talented writer and director, so for him to come back is very good. My only concern is that he wrote and directed Finding Dory. And I've not seen Finding Dory, but a lot of the people that have seen it, that I've spoken to and things, they were not particularly fond of it. Like, I think they said it was a worthless sequel. It didn't need to be made. So, that worthless sequel that doesn't need to be made sounds very much like Toy Story 5. So, I wonder if he'll do a good job here or if he'll do a bad job. But, yeah, so that's something to definitely keep in mind. So, yeah, that's Toy Story 5. The next project that came out from D23 was Stitch. Now, we've heard they're going to do a live-action Lilo and Stitch movie for a while, and this was not really a trailer as much as it was just a way of announcing this at D23 and showing a Stitch CGI model. I will say, the CGI model actually looks pretty good. It does not look real, and he's supposed to be live-action, so it needs to look real, but it looks pretty good. I thought it would look horrific, to be quite frankly, and it doesn't look horrific. It looks good, the CGI model, ultimately, but does the movie need to happen? And I think another live-action Lilo and Stitch, another live-action Disney remake, it's not needed. If I'm ever going to watch Lilo and Stitch, I'm going to go watch that fantastic animated film, which I loved. With me and my brothers and sisters, we watched it so many times as kids. I remember even my mum got into it, which is the magic of Disney, when I was a kid. So I hope you should never wish bad on things, but like I say, I really wish these live-action Disney remakes will just be bad, continuously get like a lot of bad reviews and everything, because it's just laziness. We see that they don't care, and when you see my upcoming video about the Snow White movie, you'll see me talk about how Disney just do not give a crap, and they have no passion for these projects. Because that's the reason why Snow White got pushed around so much in terms of its stuff, is because they had no creative backbone. They had no passionate force guiding why they were making the movie. If they did, they could have made a case that this is why we're making Snow White, and this is why we think the dwarves should be in it. But they don't have that. So they have no passion. They're just making content for content's sake. And Snow White is a proof of concept for that. So is Mufasa, and so is this. So I have no faith in this. So, yeah. Next thing we have that Disney announced is Frozen 3. So when I says that Inside Out 2 in my Versus video, I said Inside Out 2 being a very successful movie, and now that it's made so much money, you're gonna get more sequels. And Frozen 3 is one of those examples. In fact, I think Disney said they're gonna make a Frozen 3 and a Frozen 4. So we've got 2 more Frozen movies coming up, and I did not even like Frozen 2. You guys will have remembered I did Frozen 1 versus Frozen 2. And I wasn't particularly fond of Frozen 2, and I went into details as to why. I would highly recommend you watch that video. If anyone wants to post these versus videos in the chat as I'm mentioning them, that would be very, very helpful, so people can watch them who haven't. But yeah, I talked about Frozen 1 and 2, and I broke them down, and I wasn't really a fan of what they did in the second film. And Frozen 3 is going to be apparently created by Jennifer Lee, who created the first Frozen, but then she also did Frozen 2, and she's also the mind behind some of the failed Disney movies as well that came out. I think Strange World was also one of hers. So she's basically not been a good replacement for John Lasseter, who used to run the Pixar and things. They've essentially had her replace him, and she's not done a good job. She's done a very bad job. And I think even with Frozen, even though the first movie was hers, I don't have faith in her to do a good job with the third movie. So yeah, what we also have next, after Frozen 3, is Tron Ares. Now, this is the third Tron movie. I've not seen the very first Tron movie that came out. I've seen the second one when I was younger. I did not like it. I thought it was boring. And now this is the third Tron movie. And it's going to have Jared Leto in it. I think he's playing the villain. And it's actually... I don't really know what to say about this because, like I said, I'm not a big fan of Tron. I've not even seen the first movie. I feel like it was... The first Tron movie feels like it was very much a product of its time, and it was very impressive for its time, but now it's not going to hold up as well as it did back then. I think now it looks more like PlayStation 1 graphics, whereas back then it looked like it was just amazing, especially for the time period it came out in. But yeah, it's interesting that they put Jared Leto in because nothing he's done has really been anything where people got crazy for it. His role that had the most potential was Joker in Suicide Squad, but we all know how that turned out. So yeah, I have no faith in Jared Leto's ability, but I'm willing to see if he can change my mind, but he hasn't changed my mind, really, on anything, so we'll see how it turns out. But yeah, Tron was another one that they did, and another one we got after that they announced was Zootopia 2, so it's been a while, but we're finally getting another Zootopia movie, and I remember really liking the first film. There were a lot of funny jokes in that. I haven't seen it in a while, though, so I do need to see it again, but yeah, Zootopia 2 is another thing that we're going to be getting. And then we've got a really weird one, and I mean a very, very weird one. What we got next is Monster Jam. Now, for those of you that don't know what this is a Disney movie that Disney are doing in collaboration with Dwayne Johnson. So this is a movie that he is doing with them, and you'll see if I just make the picture go bigger. I'm going to zoom right in on this photo as well, by the way, so you won't see me. Just for a few seconds. There's Dwayne Johnson right there hugging what might be Bob Iger. But this is a project that he's trying to handle. And the last time he handled a project, we got Black Adam. So keep that in mind. So, yeah. Ultimately, this is another animated movie from Dwayne Johnson. And I just think... These Dwayne Johnson projects, I don't think they're very good. Black Adam wasn't. It was a movie that I enjoyed at the time, but then when you look back at it and you try watching it again, it did not hold up on a second viewing. And Dwayne Johnson really has an ego about himself. It's not the infectious type, which I feel like at some point he had. Now it's just the really self-obsessed type, the one where he thinks he's so awesome, and he doesn't quite realize that he's not. So, yeah, this is a movie. I think it's going to have race cars in it and things. We'll have to watch it to know for sure. But it's not a movie that I particularly care about, to be perfectly honest with you guys. So, yeah, Dwayne Johnson's got an animated movie coming out. Because if there's anything we know about Dwayne Johnson is that when he releases a movie, it's going to be awesome, isn't it? There's a lot of movies that he's released that are not good. There's a couple that were fun, but they've never been amazing. So, I don't know why they think this whole thing with Dwayne Johnson is going to work out, and Dwayne Johnson is seeming more and more fake. Like, there's videos going around where people are saying Dwayne Johnson is fake because he's been doing a lot of this stuff where he's just been advertising things rather than being, like, you know, a real human being. And he said a lot of things which are clearly lies and contradict what people know. So yeah, there's a lot of things about Dwayne Johnson that I don't... I'm starting to really lose respect for the guy, and I'm not particularly interested. And this just looks like another project, but, like, who cares? So anyway, next project up that has been announced is Avatar Fire and Ash. Now, Avatar Fire and Ash is supposed to be Avatar 3, and if I make this image bigger right here, you'll see that the release date is December 19, 2025, which is next year. Now, if you guys ask me, I bet you 100% this is going to be delayed. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if it gets delayed to 2027. First they'll say 2026, and then they'll say 2027. So, I genuinely don't think this release date is to be trusted. That's my thoughts on the matter. Now, Avatar 3, in the first movie, it was very much, the forest and earth as the theme. The second movie was water as a theme. Now, the third one is fire. Now, that's interesting, isn't it? Do you start to realize what this sounds like? Look at that. Pop Culture Fan got it. Pop Culture Fan says, Avatar is becoming Avatar. It is. This feels very much like, if I go right here, this feels very much like Avatar: The Last Airbender. It genuinely feels like James Cameron is taking inspiration from Avatar: The Last Airbender, because, I mean, seriously, look at this. We've gone from these different themes. The second movie had a lot of water. The first one had earth. This one's going to have fire. And apparently, it's going to have, like, some kind of Fire Nation as well, where there are these, these more fiery kind of, like, Avatar cats going around. So, yeah, in many ways, Avatar is copying Avatar. It really does seem like that. And I don't know, what are they going to do with the next one after this? Are they going to do Air or something? Oh, man, it's just so weird. It's like, and I'll say this about Avatar 2. I didn't do my versus video on it because I hit writer's block, so I wasn't able to. But Avatar 2 very much felt like it was also light on story. And after all these years, there was no excuse for it to be as light on story as it was. So for them to be doing this, it's like there's an interesting story there, but it just feels like the Fire Nation. It feels like they're copying Avatar. And it's like James Cameron, for all the great accolades he gets and the praise he gets, I expect him to do better than just copy Avatar. Like, do something original on your own. But James Cameron, aside from his visual effects, he's not very original anymore. So, yeah, Avatar is going to be the next one. Now, the next and final project that came from Disney, and we still got all the rest of them to come, is one that I didn't quite expect that they would do. We heard rumors of it, and we heard a while back now that they were going to make it. But it's honestly, quite frankly, I'm surprised this one is even coming to theaters. Now, I don't know if it's Disney Plus or theaters, but this next one should go to Disney Plus, if I'm being quite frank. That is Freaky Friday 2. So they got Jamie Lee Curtis back and Lindsay Lohan back, and it's going to be called... Freaky Friday 2 is going to be called... was it Freakier Friday? Let's see, it's called Freakier Friday. That was it. I had to double check because that is kind of just a generic title. But yes, Freaky Friday 2. Quite frankly, I think this should be a Disney Plus release because there's nothing about it that feels like it screams you have to watch it in the theater. Back in the day, the first Freaky Friday was exactly the kind of movie that made sense in the theater, but now this makes perfect sense on streaming. It's like Hocus Pocus 2. There was no reason for that to go to the theater, and quite frankly, I think Hocus Pocus 2 has more merit in theaters. But if that went straight to streaming, there's no reason why this couldn't go straight to streaming. So, yeah, this definitely should hit streaming. I don't think it should go to theaters. It should definitely hit Disney Plus. And if I am a betting man, I think it would go to Disney Plus, if I'm being quite frank. So, yeah, that was Disney's announcement. And I gotta say, I wasn't very impressed, to be honest. There's nothing here that I was into. Let's just count them down again. Let's just go through each and every single one of these from the beginning, and I'll tell you if I care about any of them. So, Moana 2, don't care. Mufasa, don't care. Toy Story 5, interesting concept, but don't care. Lilo and Stitch, don't care. Frozen 3, I do not care. If it's good, then yes, but I don't feel like it's going to be with the person they've got who helming it. Tron Aerie, I don't care. I've already explained my reasoning for not caring. Zootopia 2, that could be fun, but am I anticipating it or hyped up for it? No, I don't care. Monster Jam, that is not, I'm not even going to even dignify that with a response. Avatar Fire and Ash, yes, I'm excited because it's an Avatar movie. An Avatar movie does feel like an event, and I am certain that, if anything, it's going to have beautiful visuals in the theater. And to mix it with the fiery visuals and the water visuals, that would be a really cool thing. So yes, that I am actually looking forward to. Freakier Friday 2? No, I do not care. The first movie was fun. I remember that being fun. So if you want to watch a Freaky Friday movie, watch the first one. But you don't need to watch this. You really don't. There is no reason for it. I think Lindsay Lohan was at a perfect age when she was younger to be in a role like this. But to be in it now, this is clearly a cash grab trying to bank on nostalgia. So my thoughts on the Disney presentation, if I had to give it a rating out of 10, I'd give it a 3, to be honest. The only reason I'm really giving it a 3 is because there's a lot of variety here, and even though I'm not into it, there's enough here to where I'm like, some people would be like, okay, I'm excited for this or this. I don't like Freakier Friday 2, but I'm sure there's other people that would be interested. Zootopia 2 is interesting. Frozen 3, I'm sure there's a lot of people excited for that. Toy Story 5, I think a lot more people are just skeptical of it, and they're thinking we should not have another one made, because I don't think people are being as nice to Toy Story sequels anymore, because the third one was perfect. It ended beautifully. But yes, they are still going to be making all of these, and this really just felt like a cash grab scenario. It didn't feel like it was being done because they have stories to tell. It feels like it's being done because Inside Out 2 made a lot of money, and now they want to make more sequels so they can continue making a lot of money. That's all it seems like. So yeah, 3 out of 10 is my score for the quality of what was presented at the Disney section of the D23 panel. But what did you guys think? How would you rate the D23 Disney section of the panel? Would you rate it higher than I would, or are you just as uninterested as I am? The only reason it got points from me, like I said, is because there's a good variety here, and I'm sure there'll be people that will be interested in something on this list. But me, sadly, not really. For me, there is something interesting on the other lists coming up, but not this particular list from D23. But comment below with your thoughts and what you think of this particular list. Thanks very much for watching again, everyone. So, what do we have here then, guys? Let's see. King of the Monsters 2021 has done a super chat. It's his third super on a live stream. Thank you very much, King of the Monsters 2021. He's given a $5 super chat. Thank you very, very much, buddy. He says, why do you think Avatar 3 will be delayed? They finished filming in 2020, and they already delayed it from its December 2024 release date. That's a very good question. The reason why I think it's going to be delayed is because Avatar 2 got delayed. Now, I can't remember the original year Avatar 2 was supposed to come out, but it was just so long ago. Let me see. Avatar 2 original release date. Get this. I knew these years were so long ago, that's why I completely forgot. Avatar 2 was originally scheduled for 2014 and 2015. So that's what originally it was going to be, but then it kept getting pushed back. Avatar 3 and 4 were changed to December 2020 and then 2021. Before more Avatar 2 delays happened, and then they changed the date to December 2022. So Avatar, we've heard for years and years and years that Avatar... I remember when I saw the first movie in the theater when I was like 14. I was 14 when the first Avatar came out, and it was like 15 years later when the second one came out. So what does that tell you? I got so much older. Ooh. So yeah, I think they're going to delay it, to be perfectly honest with you, for that very reason. And then we got Jonah White, who has also done a $5 super chat. And he asks, hello Eric, what are your thoughts on announcements for Incredibles 3? Also, are you still a fan of the second movie? We'll talk about that in the next segment right now, so hold that thought. Jonah, I'll definitely answer that question. So yeah, I got much older when that Avatar came out. I was like 27. The Time Shadow, that's a very good question. Were you not that keen on Moana 1 then, if you're not interested in the second one? No, on the contrary, I've not seen the first Moana yet. So that's why I don't care about the second one. I also don't care about the second one because apparently, I've told you this before, Moana 2, what they're using, the scripts they're using, they were originally meant for a Moana Disney Plus TV show. But then they, at the very last minute, I think Disney were getting just such a bad rep about their movies in 2023, where they were like, we need to announce something that people want to see. So what did they do? They went and they said, we're going to make Moana 2. And that was such a panic move that they did at the last second, that move. So, yeah, that's the reason why I'm not looking forward to it, because the writing, the foundation of it is based on a script that was meant for TV, basically. Pizza Man says, my mum loves both Avatar movies, while I really just found them okay. Yeah, I can see that. I like the first movie because James Cameron was doing really commentary on... He was doing a lot of commentary on, like, you know, the trees and Earth and all that kind of stuff. You know, plant life and everything. But to me, what I liked about that movie was how it showed the American soldiers going in, invading a foreign land so they can steal their resources. That is something that happens so often, yet Western media always tries to, like, not show that. They try to say, no, it's fine. But when you get down to it, the real reason we've got so many... Like, you know, when they say refugees and all that kind of stuff, like, how do we have so many people, like, coming abroad? The reason why is because their own land is uninhabitable. There's wars going on, and it's really just all down to greed of people trying to steal resources. So if you're complaining about people coming over from other countries, which a lot of these people are, then just stop the wars. If the wars don't happen, they can stay where they want to stay, and they want to stay where they live. But they have to move because they're being kicked out. It's not a habitable place for them. So I liked how the first Avatar was basically fighting back against the American military, because I think there's a lot of villainy that goes on from their side, but it's really a lot of propaganda and stuff in the media that is trying to propagate it as great. Like, you know, Starship Troopers had commentary on that. Do your part on the war and everything. So that's why I think. That's why I like the first Avatar, for that reason. And we are technically seeing that even now. And by the way, I'm seeing a lot of your guys' rating. You're all giving it a 3 and a 4 out of 10, the Disney section. So that's interesting. A lot of you do seem to agree with me there. The Dark Lord says, the best part of this D23 was my bathroom break while I was watching it. Wow. You must really have not liked this D23. So... Okay, with that said, guys, it's time to move over to Pixar. So, what did Pixar release? Pixar didn't release too much, to be perfectly honest with you, at least from what I could see. The first thing they announced was Elio. Now, Elio is a project that they've been working on, and I think it's going to be released in 2025. So this is their next movie, and it doesn't look that interesting, even though that animation does look really quite beautiful. Particularly the backgrounds and that thing he's reaching out to touch. It's got a very interesting... It looks real and cartoony at the same time. So, yeah. That is really, really cool. And then the next thing we have, and this is the big one. This is one that I was actually excited for. And that is Incredibles 3. Now, Incredibles 3... was a movie that I thought... The Incredibles sequels, I'm like, yes, The Incredibles does warrant sequels, and you can keep making more movies. Now, Incredibles 2, I liked it when I saw it, but it suffers from the same problem as Toy Story 4, which is, yes, I liked it when I saw it, but I never felt the need to go watch it again. To this day, I've still seen the first Incredibles movie so many times, and it's just gotten better now as an adult. I understand it on a more deeper level now. And with the way fandom has progressed, it makes Syndrome an even better villain now. Again, I did a versus video of Incredibles 1 versus Incredibles 2. So again, if someone can post that in the chat for people that have not seen it, that would also be very helpful. But yeah, I was just disappointed ultimately with the fact that it feels like they didn't fully take advantage of the sequel. The characters hadn't really aged up. They continued it, but they felt like, and I said this in my versus video, they reran the exact same story in the first film, which is how do we bring superheroes into the limelight. They already did it, so it's like, what's the point of all this then? I was very disappointed, I really have to say, with the story for the second movie. And the more I think about it, you know, going past that versus video, I am more disappointed with it. I don't hate the movie, but I think it was for all the stuff it could have done, I feel like there was a lot of wasted potential there. So I hope with the third movie they age the characters up a bit and the story can go back to being Brad Bird at his best. And the villain, I predicted who the villain was the very first second the character was on screen. And it ended up being the villain. It was so predictable. Mehul Chandra has put a message out there. It's $5 New Zealand dollars. Thank you very, very much. Let me just write this down. That is $5. So, your question is, hey Eric, Attack on Titan are some of the best plot twists in TV history and rivals The Last Airbender. Also, the foreshadow is top tier. I find that very hard to believe that it can rival The Last Airbender. Shyamalan's Last Airbender, yes. Netflix's Last Airbender, yes, but not the Avatar The Last Airbender. I find that hard to believe. I'm interested if anyone else in the chat who has seen Attack on Titan actually believes that and thinks that's true. But I wouldn't think it is. But thank you very much for letting me know that I am interested in Attack on Titan and I do want to watch it at some point, but not right now. I'm also still waiting for Demon Slayer. That's what I'm watching right now. So, what does everyone think of Incredibles 3? Is that something you're interested in? Joshman says, as Brad Bird did a fantastic job with Iron Giant, which is still the best film he's ever directed and written. I agree. And by the way, speaking of Brad Bird, Incredibles 3 is going to be written and directed by Brad Bird. I just find it very odd that he did not show up at this panel to basically announce it himself. But yeah, apparently he's working on it. I'm always into the idea of an Incredibles sequel. They just need to make sure that it's not got wasted potential, because I feel like that's the biggest sin with these Incredibles movies, is that there's wasted potential with them. Sonic says, I'm interested but not excited. That's kind of where I'm at, but I am very curious to see what they do. King of the Monsters has sent a... Oh, I'm sorry, buddy, if I missed this. This was a while back, I'm sorry. Let me look at my phone. Did I put my phone on silent earlier and I forgot to take it off? Let's see. King of the Monsters has done a £1 Streamlabs chat, which I really appreciate, buddy. And he says, I'm here now. Can you recall your favorite toy from your childhood? Ooh, that's a big question. Yes, there's quite a few favorite toys I had, but one of my favorite toys that I played with a lot was a T-Rex that I got, which was part of the merchandising for Jurassic Park 3. And Jurassic Park 3, they had the Spinosaurus. I hadn't seen Jurassic Park 3 yet. The movie wasn't released yet. But they did have the toys there, and I got myself a T-Rex. And what I used to do then was get a little Smarties, sweets. And it was basically like this paper cardboard with a bunch of sweets inside there. And I would eat it. And then what I would do is I'd rip up a little pieces of tiny paper, put it inside, and then I would treat it like the scene in Jurassic Park 3 when the Spinosaurus is pressing on the airplane and then is trying to eat people inside there. And those bits of paper that I put in there would be supposed to be people. And I could press this button which would open the T-Rex's mouth. And then you can put those pieces of paper in his mouth and then pretend that you're eating them, then going for the rest. That was what I used to do, and I used to have a lot of fun with that on my bed. I used to do that with the T-Rex. And like I said, it's what kids used to do back then is they used to play make-believe. It was like imagination. But imagine if you can do that with a video game. That would be interesting, but they haven't made such game. But yeah, that's basically what I used to do. That was my favorite toy. That's a very good question, King of the Monsters. I really appreciate that. I also had a Buzz Lightyear toy when I was a kid, and I loved that toy. Jess has done a $5 super chat. Thank you very much. You guys are being very generous with the super chats today. Thank you. Jess says, hey Eric, who is better, Matt Reeves or Michael Bay? Because one likes telling stories and the other likes more action. Who do you prefer and why? Matt Reeves, because he's got far better storytelling, far better characterizations. I think he's got better action in some ways. because the action, you feel like you're in, because the story and characters are done so well, the action feels like you really care on a level that you don't with Michael Bay's. Michael Bay has some more creative action set pieces, like if you look at Transformers 1 and 3, I thought they had fantastic action, but you're not in love with the characters. You like the characters, you don't love them, and I feel like Michael Bay has just gotten worse as time has gone on, and even his action is more forgettable now. So Matt Reeves, without a shadow of a doubt, he has a lot more thought that goes into his movies. So thank you for the super chat. King of the Bond says, technically they did make a game where you could do that to dinosaurs. It's called Jurassic World Evolution. But what about doing it to people in the game? Doing it to people in the game would be interesting. Big Bash, I don't really have any Ben 10 toys. My younger brother did. For me, I played the DS game, and then eventually I got the PSP game when I got a PSP, so that was good enough for me. But my brother, he had a Ben 10 toy that he went like this with, the proper one, the good one. Yeah. Alright, now, there was one more project that Pixar announced. And by the way, Pixar, just to clarify, Pixar were the ones that announced Toy Story 4. Sorry, Toy Story 5. Now, there's one other original property that they've announced. And that is something called Hoppers. I haven't seen Hoppers, I don't know what it is, but apparently it's meant to be action, a funny action adventure, basically. So, fun action adventure. I don't even know if it's an adventure or if it's just funny and fun action. I think that's what I heard them say. It's funny and it's got fun action. So, yeah. That's basically the Pixar panel. Unless I'm missing something. Am I missing anything from the Pixar panel? I'm sure I've got everything. MovieFan2002 has also done a $5 super chat. And he says, I actually don't like the human characters in Transformers 1 and 3, but I love Optimus Prime. Optimus is someone that I got kind of annoyed with as it went on, because you expect the leader to get better, but I feel like he just constantly got worse after the first movie. So Optimus kind of got on my nerves after a while. And he sounded very murderous too. He would get very psycho with some of his word selection. But anyway... Yeah, G-Gamer, Hoppers is about beavers, so that's what the movie's about. Ethan's drawing says you're missing 2 more. What were the other 2? Wait, you forgot that spin-off TV show they announced based on Inside Out. Inside Out Dream Product. I'm not. Yeah, that was a TV show thing. I was talking about movies here, basically. But yeah, there was a TV show that they announced. I didn't really read much about it, to be honest. I think that's why I kind of overlooked it. And a girl who can go inside of a mind of a beaver. A girl that can go inside the mind of a beaver. That almost sounds like Inside Out, if you ask me. JWK says, I honestly thought Hooper is Hopper, not Hooper. Hopper was going to be a prequel to Bug's Life. That's interesting. Hopper, yeah, I get what you mean, Hopper, but it says Hoppers, so that would have been interesting, wouldn't it have? No, Big Bash, I've not seen The Office, but I'm aware of it. There's 2 different versions, so I don't know which one to go to. So yeah, guys, that's basically it. We have Elio, which is a new IP, Incredibles 3, which is a sequel, and then we got Hoppers, which is also a new IP. So we'll see what they do with the new stuff, but here's hoping they do very well. Alright, guys, next up is going to be the Lucasfilm panel. So, Lucasfilm, they've gone through a very troubled time, haven't they? Particularly with Kathleen Kennedy and what she did with The Acolyte, which was not a very flattering movie. A very flattering show for the Star Wars brand, and it's the first show in the whole Star Wars brand to just drop out of the top 10 altogether on the Nielsen ratings for streaming numbers. So what are they going to do? What have they announced? Well, the first thing they announced was Andor Season 2. A lot of people say Andor is a really great show, but for me, I still haven't seen it. I remember the first episode. I watched the first episode, and I haven't seen the rest, because the first one, it was very slow. There's a lot of political talk, which I love in Star Wars. If you watch the Clone Wars, I love political talk in Star Wars, and even in Rebels it was good. But it was the best in Clone Wars, and this just felt like it was doing it in a way that was very boring. So I struggled through it. But if I've seen the Acolyte, which I do intend to make a video on, if I've seen that, then I can easily watch the rest of this. I hear halfway through it picks up in his pacing, and then it gets better. Apparently, the writer for this wanted to do like 4 seasons or something, but now he's having to only wrap it up with the 2nd season because the show didn't do good with ratings. And I think that's really down to Obi-Wan being such utter crap, to be honest with you. But yeah, then we got the Mando and Grogu movie, which we already know is coming out, but Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau came on stage and they talked about the fact that they've already been shooting it for a few weeks and it's not coming out until 2026. Seeing how fast the turnaround is for the Mandalorian movie, I'm surprised that for the Mandalorian show, seeing how fast the turnaround is for the Mandalorian show, I'm really quite surprised how long it's taking them to release the Mandalorian movie. That it's not coming out in 2025, but 2026. That is such a long time. It's like, in that time, are they going to make the production better, or will they just have the movie shelved and waiting for its release once they complete it, most likely in 2025? That's what I'm wondering. So, yeah. The interesting thing, though, that I will say, is that you'll probably have noticed, for the first time, there was no Kathleen Kennedy on stage. Do you see that big empty slot in the center where Dave Filoni's hand is? Usually, Kathleen Kennedy would be there, but she's not. So, it basically means Kathleen Kennedy is out of the building. I think this says a lot. I think Andor was basically the one where they were like, yeah, get out. So, we'll see what happens. But yeah, she's not there, which is great. I was so happy to see that she wasn't there. And in her absence, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau apparently advertised another show that they're going to be... They're not the one... A Spirit Hero, she's not been fired, but she's going to be let go soon. And I think they said she's not allowed to come to these events, probably clearly now. So she's not been fired yet, but Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are almost going to take control now, which is great. So, the show that they announced was Skeleton Crew. Now, this is supposed to be very much like an old Amblin sort of like feeling Star Wars show. It's meant to have kids in it, and it's meant to feel like Goonies and stuff like that to that extent. Like Goonies, and what's the other one they mentioned? They mentioned another example. But it's meant to feel very Spielbergian, this show is meant to be. And I've seen the trailer. It doesn't look as bad as, say, The Acolyte. This does look quite charming in its own way. But I just don't think this is the kind of thing Star Wars needs right now. Now, apparently, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are both very confident in this show, because apparently behind the scenes, they were, this is like from what I've heard from certain people, that behind the scenes, this is a show that they've got confidence in. And Kathleen Kennedy's people recently, in the trades, were trying to trash talk this show. But apparently no one pays any attention to it, to that article. But the reason why Kathleen Kennedy's people are trying to trash talk it is because they know Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau actually have faith in this. And I think this is actually being helmed by the guy that made the Spider-Man Homecoming movies. So he's basically in charge of this. And he's got no style, I think, that director. He's completely void of a style of his own. And that is something which I'm concerned about. But I do like... I think it looks charming, guys, to me. I hope it has a spooky, scary side to it. Because if it can be scary like what Spielberg movies could be, I feel like we'll have something there. If it brings heart to it, brings good imagination to it, and brings... like, some good storytelling, I think this could be considered charming. I don't know if it'll do well, but here's hoping it does good. I hope it is a good show, because if this is from them and John Watts, I always say he's got no style of his own. But if they are the ones helming this and they are the ones that are looking at it and stuff, here's hoping it does good. There's one image that I've got right here which shows Jude Law in this, who plays a teacher. He's going to teach these kids how to use the Force. It does look a bit childish. I wouldn't quite say Disney Channel, but it does look like a more kid version of Stranger Things, mixed with a movie that J.J. Abrams made. I can't remember what it was called. It was a movie that J.J. Abrams made that was inspired heavily by Steven Spielberg. This was a movie that he made a while back about a bunch of kids. Super 8, that was it. It kind of reminds me a bit of Super 8. which is not surprising because that movie was taking a lot of inspiration from Steven Spielberg as well. So yeah. We've got another $5 super chat. It's from MovieFan2002, who says, if Dave Filoni takes over, then he should make an animated Indiana Jones project. No, seriously, isn't it that he didn't make... No, seriously, isn't it that he didn't make an animated indie project? I think you're trying to say, isn't it a shame, or isn't it weird that he's not made an animated indie project? I don't know if that would be considered weird or strange, but I don't know. I don't think we need an animated indie project. It could be cool now that I think about it, but Star Wars is so grand and massive a universe where there are a lot of stories you can tell. But with Indiana Jones, I think the movies are fine. I don't think you need a show to continue telling stories. So yeah, but yeah, this is supposed to be something that they have faith in. If they have faith in it, I'll give them. I'll pay attention and I'll see what they have. But I'm not so sure if this is something that would be good. But here's hoping it's good. I always hope this stuff is good. It's not from Kathleen Kennedy, so I don't think that there's going to be anything false in here. It's going to be very... I'm assuming it's going to be earnestly made. That's what I'm trying to get across, as opposed to The Acolyte, which feels like it's spitefully made just to, just to spark outrage and then play the victim afterwards. I don't think they'll do that with this, and this looks like it's got its own interesting style. So that's what I think of the Lucasfilm panel. If I had to rate it out of 10, I'd probably give it a 5. I'm not rating it highly because they didn't announce much. They didn't even announce anything additional with regards to animation, which I'm surprised. Dave Filoni has been letting animation stuff go on in Star Wars, and I was looking forward to more, but he's not talking about any animation, which is disappointing. Dave is not Kathleen Kennedy's apprentice, Parker, I told you. Look at it, I feel like if you're saying that, you've not seen the Clone Wars. Watch the Clone Wars, you'll know how amazing his storytelling is. If you even watch Tales of the Jedi, you'll know. But just following what the other people out there are saying, those people haven't watched Dave Filoni's projects either. There's people that... Look, here's the thing about those people. There's people that have hate towards the woke stuff going on, but then you have other people that just... Their channels run off of outrage. If they run out of outrage, people are not going to be watching their videos in mass like they used to. So they're trying to find another scapegoat. Once Kathleen Kennedy is taken out, and she's nowhere to be found, I'm telling you, they're going to then go for Dave Filoni just to say, see, it's not completely gone. But no, he's great at storytelling. I'll tell you this, if Dave Filoni is not in Star Wars, I give up. I do, genuinely, I give up. I'll say just forget about it. Because Jon Favreau is good, but he's not been in Star Wars for as long as Dave Filoni, and he's not worked with George Lucas like Dave Filoni has. He has not turned to the dark side. If you're talking about that video where he was at that stupid sort of like women stroking, ego stroking panel, Kathleen Kennedy hired him and told him to go and give a speech. Now, if he gives a speech where he's 100% on the side of us, of the male fans, do you think that she would have let him have his job? She would have demeaned him. She would have talked down to him. Dave Filoni is one thing. One thing Dave Filoni is that he's a survivor in the business. With all the BS that is going on with Hollywood politics, Hollywood play their own politics in terms of who they hire and who they don't, and who they shun when they don't like them. And Dave Filoni is trying not to step on any toes within the industry. Behind the scenes, though, he has tried to, damage Kathleen Kennedy. There was one point where Kathleen Kennedy and her people were releasing those crap High Republic books that were doing very bad with the sales. And there was one book in the 90s that didn't get published. It got written, but it didn't get published, which Dave Filoni says to Jon Favreau, that book is renowned, but it's not been published. How about we secretly publish it, tell a couple people on a forum, and then just trust me, people will just buy that. We'll be sold out of that book with no marketing. Versus Kathleen Kennedy, who had a ton of marketing with the High Republic books, which were just completely, no one was buying them. They had terrible sales numbers, terrible numbers. But Dave Filoni actually said that, and guess what happened? The book Jon Favreau did it, the book got sold out, and it had no marketing behind it. So Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau have both been scheming in their own way to get Kathleen Kennedy out, and how they can find ways to remove what she has done with the Star Wars, with her own crappy new Disney trilogy. So I have faith in Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. They are both a team in this. He's not turned to the dark side or anything. That's just what some morons online are saying, because they're trying to find another scapegoat. Because, like I said, they thrive on just being negative all the time. Once there's no one to be negative towards, they haven't got no one to bash and then just make ad revenue of. So that's what it basically is. I know that because I've contemplated in my head, should I try doing that to get views? But very quickly I shot that down. I was like, no. I'll only talk about stuff that I think is something that is worth talking about. I'm not going to manufacture something for views. I'll talk about what I believe in and stuff. And I could easily join the Dave Filoni hype and say, yeah, he's trying to destroy Star Wars. He's not. He's not turned to the dark side. It's fine. Parker, I wish I could remember the name of the book, but I can't remember it now. It was a book that came out in, I think it was supposed to be the early to mid-90s. It was ready and everything, but it didn't get published in the end. I can't remember the reason why, if it was a George Lucas reason, or if there was some legality thing or something, or some money thing going on. I can't remember what it was. But there was a book which basically Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau got together. They released that book from Dave Filoni's idea, and it made Kathleen Kennedy look like crap, because they could not say, oh, people don't like reading Star Wars books, because that book came out, sold out. No marketing. So that's what it basically was. So no, Dave Filoni has not gone to the dark side, but he's known how to be a survivor within the company. The same with Jon Favreau as well. So yeah, I hope I've given a compelling argument there. Yeah, Funny says, like, I'll be mad in full anger mode. And it's like, yeah, a lot of people would in that situation, but... Oh, you talk about something else funny, actually. You talk about if She-Hulk was in Daredevil Born Again. Hoping she's not. I bet you Spider-Man will be. I saw an interview with the Daredevil cast recently, and there was a... Charlie Cox was having a play of words where he was trying to say, I don't want to raise people's expectations and then find out they'll be disappointed. And the whole cast laughed. It's because I bet you that Spider-Man's going to be in there, because he's already crossed over with Spider-Man in No Way Home, and now they're going to try to cross over Peter Parker into Daredevil. I bet you that's the big cameo. But he's trying to make it out like, I don't want to disappoint you because there's not going to be any big cameo. There is. I think there is. So yeah, guys, that's basically what's going on here. Okay then. Is everyone ready to move on to the next panel? You all know which one I'm talking about. Has Dave Filoni done anything on the level of Clone Wars since, though? Rebels and Bad Batch had their moments, but were nothing special, while he was only one part of Mandalorian. Rebels was his, and I thought the first two seasons had good moments, but they were ultimately quite slow. Seasons 3 and 4 were a lot better. The Bad Batch was a show that he gave to other people, and he was monitoring it like George Lucas was monitoring the Clone Wars. And the Bad Batch had some fan-frickin-tastic episodes. I even was almost gonna give two of them the best movie of the year thing in one of my best movies list again, like I did with the final 4 episodes of Clone Wars. But I didn't in the end. I didn't want to do that again to you guys. I did it once. I wouldn't keep doing it. But he's good. Dave Filoni is very good. The problem with Dave Filoni, something that I've always noticed, is that the first season of a show, he's always trying to find his footing. It's like with any show, like they're trying to find their footing. Even the first season of Avatar: The Last Airbender was like that. It's the weakest of the 3 seasons because they were trying to find their footing. But by season 2, they found themselves. With Dave Filoni, by season 2, he's gotten on track better, but he still hasn't found himself. He still hasn't settled with the show. It's not until season 3 where he really kicks into high gear, both with the Clone Wars and with Star Wars Rebels. But that's the thing. He always kicks into gear by season 3. He needs to kick into gear faster, Because when Clone Wars Season 4 came out, and then Rebels Season 4 came out, those seasons got even better than the third season. And then if there's a Season 5 and 6, they get better and better. So Dave Filoni does have that pattern with him. And that's why I think with Ahsoka, I thought it was going to be more of an establishing show, which it kind of is, like he has to find his footing. I think Season 2 will get better, but I think Season 3 is the one that's going to be great. So that's what I think the whole situation is. So, with that said, let me have a drink of my water, then we'll move on to the Marvel panel. King of the Monsters, I'm sorry, let me have a look at Streamlabs. I don't know what's going on with my phone right now. But it is helpful that you're doing a Streamlabs chat, because the revenue all comes to me, none of it goes to YouTube at all. So, let's see, you've done another £1 super chat, thank you for that. And King of the Monsters says, funnily enough, I'm in a Discord server who are basically Lucas purists who blames Filoni for revisionism and destruction of Lucas's work. I have 2,000 chat logs of this, which brings me to this. Do you like the prequels? Did you like the prequels when you first watched them? Well, when I was a kid, I did like the prequels very much. JWK, I'm going to take your advice and stay hydrated. But how are you guys liking the stream? I don't think I've had a stream this jam-packed. And for as long of jam-packed with information for as long as I can remember. Anyway, in answer to King of the Monsters questions, when I was younger, I did like the prequels a lot. I recognize the problems of the second movie. I didn't like how Anakin was whiny even when I was a kid, but I liked the second movie too. The third movie is the one that to me gets better every time. It gets better every time, and I really like it. But the reason it gets better is because, excuse me. The reason it gets better is because the Clone Wars made it better. If you watch the Clone Wars, you'll be surprised how it doesn't only make the prequels better, but it makes the sequels better as well. Like, not the sequels, sorry, the original trilogy better as well. 4, 5, and 6. It makes all of Star Wars better, and George Lucas and Dave Filoni had a hand in that. Zilla says Dave Filoni had lost his way, especially when he had a hand in helping with the Acolyte. He didn't help with the Acolyte. If anything, I wouldn't be surprised if he helped sabotage the Acolyte so it could get Kathleen Kennedy out of the door quicker. So yeah, if I was Dave Filoni, I would have advised him not to go on the interview panels for Acolyte, but that's not his show. Because it makes silly mistakes that Dave Filoni does not make. So no, I don't believe that was from Dave Filoni, because again, if you've watched his work, Clone Wars, Rebels, and his Tales of the Jedi and things and this other stuff, he's very smart. He would not make stupid decisions like this. This seems like it's from a completely different person. And I wouldn't be surprised as well if maybe Dave Filoni did help on some things, but they did not listen to him. Because remember, Dave Filoni's going to take Kathleen Kennedy's job. So is Jon Favreau. They're both going to be replacing her. Do you think they're going to want to listen? Or do you think they're going to be ignorant and say, yeah, forget it, we're not listening to you, we're going to do it our way, and everyone's going to love it, and then everyone hates it. And when everyone hates it, they try to blame sexism and all that. So yes, I don't blame him for that. If anything, that Pablo Hidalgo, who has betrayed George Lucas, he's the one that allowed them to do certain things with characters and stuff. So yeah, because he's the one that allowed them to put Ki-Adi-Mundi in the Acolyte, even though he shouldn't be born by then. So that was on him, that's not a Dave Filoni thing. I say Kathleen Kennedy, don't I, Big Bash? I don't say Kathleen Kennedy. You'd notice it, you'd know if I did. Okay. It's time to move on to Marvel. Now, I haven't got posters for everything here, because the other stuff that they've announced is stuff we already know about, so I'm just going to be talking about a few of these things here. The first one is Agatha All Along. Now, Agatha All Along is something that's coming out next month. But guess what else is coming out next month? The Penguin Show. And I saw the second trailer for Agatha, and I wasn't impressed with it, honestly. I was like, another trailer has come out, and this trailer is worse than the last one. It's leaning more into comedy. It's got some horror visuals, but you know they're going to just ruin it with a joke. And really, who cares? Like, seriously, guys, who cares about this? I don't care. I don't see how anyone could really care about this, to be honest with you. And they put on a show because they're at D23. They want to come in with an entrance, but I feel like they're trying to provide hype for a show that they know people are not going to be interested in. So, yeah, I've not seen The Shawshank Redemption, Trevor. I still need to see that. But yeah, I have no faith in this show. It looks like it's another show that was made just for the sake of it being made. And the fact that it's being named after... the fact that it was being made after just the song title just goes to show how there was no purpose for this show when they made it. There was no reason for it. The only reason they did it is because they thought they could capitalize on a trend, and it was a bad trend. So yeah. Exactly, Spirit Hero. It was Wanda all along. That was such a stupid thing in the show. How they're trying to act like it was Agatha all along, when really it wasn't. Yeah, Jess. Jess says the Penguin show is going to be awesome. Nobody cares about Agatha. Yeah, nobody does care. The only reason that Agatha is being done is because they want to introduce Wicket, which is supposed to be an LGBTQ character, you know. And it's like, you're introducing these characters for just for their genders and things. You're not putting these characters out because you have a passionate story to tell. That's the difference between Marvel when they started and Marvel right now. They're making them only now to pander, not for creative reasons. Not because they think we got a passionate story to tell about this character. Not because they think we can utilize this character. This whole show, I don't even know what part it's going to play in the overall MCU story. It's just a bunch of nonsense. So, Agatha all along is one. Ironheart is another. This show has been in the can for a long, long time. We saw them shooting this like yonks ago. And it's been in the can for so long, and they are just now about to release it. And it tells me that the only reason they're releasing it is because they need content. I think that's why they were saving it all this time, for that. So, yeah, this really is quite... Just, who cares about Ironheart? No one did. I thought Ironheart was one of the weakest things of Black Panther 2. I thought she took away from M'Baku, who needed serious development in that film. But he didn't get it, and they gave it to her instead. Even though the movie was already full of women, they wanted to establish another one. But yeah, no one cares about this. And if the rumors are true, I remember a long time ago they said that Mephisto was going to be introduced in this show. And he was going to be comedic and silly, I remember. Unless they've done reshoots and they've changed it now, and Sacha Baron Cohen was supposed to play him. A comedic actor. So yeah, no one cares about this show either, but hey, it's being made, and they're going to release it, so yeah, there's that. So no one cares about that. The one that people do care about, though, is Daredevil Born Again. Now, they released a trailer for this show, and again, they didn't release the trailer for everyone else, but they released a trailer for it at D23. And at the trailer at D23, now people have uploaded it on the internet. People actually uploaded it on the internet, right? But there was no sound to it, just some muffled music, so I couldn't hear any of the dialogue. And I will say, visually, I think it looks very good. Visually, it looks very good. Like, it actually does look like the Netflix show more now. It doesn't have the crappy look that Marvel's shows have had. And it looks good the way it's shown, even though I couldn't hear any dialogue. And Bullseye's going to be back in it, Poindexter, which is great. I just don't like the showrunner they got. The showrunner they got is the same guy that was the showrunner for The Punisher Season 1. And I thought he did a bad job with that first season. It was just so slow, full of generic, like, cop plot lines that who cares? It was just boring. And it was the first show I fell asleep on of these Marvel shows as we were watching. It was just so freaking slow. That pissed me off, that did. They should have hired the showrunner for the Season 3 of Daredevil that introduced Poindexter and with Kingpin and all that. They should have done that, but they didn't. So I bet you that what they're going to do is... Because it is still called Born Again, so I'm wondering... I still think they're going to kill Karen and Foggy, but we're just going to see it. We've not seen any other footage of them. We've seen Daredevil with this other girl that he seems to be dating on the streets when they were filming. And it's just like... I don't trust them. I like the look of it, but I don't trust the talent they got involved for this. Really, I don't. So, and they also say it's apparently going to be deeper than the previous season of Daredevil. I seriously freaking doubt that. The only way I can imagine it getting deeper is from what I heard, there's rumors that there's going to be corrupt cops that are going around acting like they're the Punisher or something. And I wonder if that is what they're referring to as it's going to be deeper. But to me, that's not going to be deeper. It's just going to be Disney pandering and preaching again. There's a way to incorporate politics like that into a show, and I feel like the previous Daredevil team would be able to do that, but not the current one from Disney. Also, it doesn't have the same composer from the Daredevil show. That John Pisano, who did the Daredevil music for the Daredevil shows, he also did the music for the Spider-Man Insomniac games. He's not returning. So are they going to give us a new Daredevil theme as well or something? It's like, these are the things that are bad signs to me. And also, this is part 1, so there's going to be a part 2 of the show. Are they going to end it on another freaking cliffhanger? Where they say, you wanted to see the show, but like with all the other stuff, stay tuned for what's coming next season. I don't want to see any of that. You know, apparently it's going to come out in March of next year, but I don't want any of that. I want the show to be just a great all-in-one season that has a beginning, middle, and end. But for them to just do what Marvel have always been doing, which is just setting stuff up for more stuff, I'm sick and tired of that. I really am. I'm just done with it. I'm tired. So yeah, we'll see how they do, but I didn't like how they used Daredevil and She-Hulk. I didn't like how they utilized him or Kingpin and Echo, if you watch my Let's Binge Watch Echo video. So yeah, I don't have faith in them, and I bet you they will kill Karen Foggy, because those two actors were surprisingly quiet during the whole interviews of them. So I bet they're going to be showing up for a little, then they're going to kill them off or something, and then they're just going to have their own characters. So that's what I think. But yeah, this is a show that it has to be great. At minimum, it has to be great. It can't be good or decent. It has to be great at minimum. If not, anything else is failure for Marvel. So yeah, what do you guys think? Now, there's other stuff that Marvel announced here. They gave us another look at Captain America Brave New World. They showed the Red Hulk. I thought he looked okay. Red Hulk, but he had no mustache, no Ross mustache. The effects still looked unfinished, but hopefully they can make it look better. He looked quite big, which was interesting, but it doesn't look quite as much as Harrison Ford as you'd kind of expect it to, but I don't really mind if it looks different. But yeah, to me, there was, what was it? So there was that. Let's see, was there anything else? They also gave the theme song for Fantastic Four. And I didn't like the main theme for Fantastic Four from Michael Giacchino. I was like, he's very good at giving themes, but there's not really a theme in here. It sounds like generic Marvel music. So, yeah, I was disappointed with the theme. I think the theme for the first Fantastic Four movie from, the Tim Story movies, the 2005 and 2007 movies, I thought they had a great killer, main theme for the characters. But the newer one, nah, I did not like it. It's got a nice upbeat sound to it. But the main theme has got no main theme. It's just boring, if you ask me. So that's what I ultimately think. I think the best thing on the panel was Daredevil Born Again, but I don't have faith in them to do it right, to be honest with you. So, what do you guys all think of this panel? Of the Marvel panel? What did you all think? Jess says, at least Red Hulk is not a jokester and didn't get massacred like Shrek Ruffalo. That is true, but we haven't seen the movie yet, so we gotta wait and see. He still could be. Fireboy says, Daredevil Born Again, then Ironheart and Agatha. Yeah, I don't even know if I can position them in order, to be honest with you, but I think I would say Ironheart I'd put right at the end, because I just don't care about Agatha. At least has a good actress playing the role, but Ironheart, no one asked for that. I did see the suits, yeah. They looked pretty good. Like, they look clearly classic and oldish and everything, but I thought they looked pretty good. Trevor Bistro, Dave Filoni has no place in the MCU. I wouldn't want him in there. Keep him in Star Wars, where he's at his best. So yeah, this panel, I'll also say, gets... honestly, it gets a 4, and the only reason it gets those 2 points, those 3 points, is because of Daredevil. But that's basically it. Actually, honestly, let me take that back. I'll give it a 3. 2 points because of Daredevil. It doesn't get any points for Agatha and Ironheart. That's Sonic. The reason I'm saying it's good is because at the same time, the footage I saw was not great. It looked old school, like it's meant to be from the 60s, so that's why it looks better. If it was based in the now, it would look crap. But because it's based in the 60s, it's got that oldish kind of look that it's going for. So that's why I'm fine with that, to be honest with you. Oh. I just spoke a mouthful throughout this whole hour-and-a-half stream. That's a lot of information to get out in a live stream. Jess says, Ironheart, don't care. Agatha all along, don't care. Daredevil Born Again, care a lot. I care a lot too, so let's hope they get it right. Kevin says, a $2 super chat. Thank you very much, Kevin. Says, what was your reaction on Will Smith getting 10-year ban? Well, he deserves it, doesn't he? Quite frankly, he deserved to get arrested from doing that. What an idiot. That was such a... I would say that to his face as well, by the way. Like, what an idiot. Like, why would you go up there and just hit someone the way he did, especially in front of all those people? I made a video talking about why he did it, but he shouldn't have done it. If you want to smack anyone around or tell someone off, speak to your poorly named wife. JWK says, I don't care about any of this. Funny says, I gave a low 2 out of 10. Only Daredevil and that's it. Yeah. I like how you guys say what I say now, like a low 2 out of 10 or a high this out of 10. That's something that that I coined myself. I like how people are using it now. You guys are. Sonic says, Agatha 6 out of 10, Ironheart 6 out of 10, Cap 4 7 out of 10, Daredevil 7 out of 10, Fantastic Four 2 out of 10. Oh wow, really? And Gwen says, poor Chris Rock. Spirit Hero says, Ricky Gervais said that if he was there hosting, he would have joked about his wife's... He did say he would joke about something. Oh yeah, he would have joked about his wife's boyfriend and not her hair, lol. Yeah, that's true. That's something I heard he said, yeah. Oh yeah, that's interesting. Jacinda says, Eric, there was a comic series on Captain Marvel that got cancelled because the Marvels movie flopped. Huh, that's interesting. They should cancel more stuff with the Marvels. That was one thing I saw in the Daredevil trailer, speaking of the Marvels. Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, her father showed up in that trailer and spoke to Matt Murdock. That's such a silly cameo, if you ask me. You don't need a cameo like that. Don't acknowledge the lame heroes, acknowledge the good ones. Maybe if Charlie Cox saw Happy again, for example, maybe that could have happened. But who cares about Kamala Khan's father? Trevor Bistro says, definitely more excited for Beyond the Spider-Verse than the MCU. Yeah. Charleston, she already had an affair. Charleston says, one little fight about his wife's lost hair. She said, you're slapping Chris Rock or I'm having an affair. She already had an affair, unless you mean another one. Also, with the Daredevil show, what's going to annoy me is that they're gonna do a weekly release. They should just release all of it on day one. You know, like what Netflix did with their Daredevil episodes. Watch at our own pace. Yes, Classic Rickman. What in the Q? No, we're not in the Q&A yet. We're still talking about Daredevil Born Again. So we're not in the Q&A yet. Oh, you did mean another one, Charleston. Okay, good. The G Gamer says Ironheart is such a fitting title for that show because they don't have a heart for that show. Yeah. Marvel just don't have heart in general. Alright then, I think let's get rid of those. We can talk more about Daredevil, and then we can just go into the Q&A session. Trevor Bistro says, Kevin Feige, you're fired. Get out of here. You're fired. I think he does deserve to be fired after all the mess he's done. They don't need him anymore because it's clear that they don't need him. Get the Russo brothers in, have them take over his job, and that's it. Done. Because Feige's done nothing to fix the MCU. The fact they even hired Robert Downey Jr. just goes to show they've given up. They don't know how to fix it. So they're trying to go back to someone who'll bring butts to the seats. But yeah, Feige has no freaking clue anymore. He's done. The stream's going to be 2 hours, Big Bash, so 20 more minutes for the stream. So any more questions you have, Super Chats, Streamlabs chats, and you want to get your questions in, that's the best way to do it. But yeah, that we'll be finishing off in 20 minutes. And yes, Rohan, I have heard of Beyblade. I used to watch that when I was a young kid, and I also used to have several Beyblades, because they broke a lot, the cheaper ones. Classic Brickman says, Eric, have you seen Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit? Yes, I have. Funny says, I hope after Avengers Secret Wars they just reboot. Well, maybe they can kill a lot of heroes off and then maybe. But they just need to be done. They can't keep continuing. What other stories they have to tell? Get rid of the Avengers, just start with the X-Men and Fantastic Four, and don't gender bend the Silver Surfer, because then that just shows you've learned nothing and you're going to continue to piss people off, is what it shows. Yes, we'll bring up the Q&A session right now. Khan, so yeah, you've got your time code right there. Jess says, Eric, have you seen Transformers Prime? No, I don't think I have. I might have seen a little, but that's about it online, maybe, if it's the one I'm thinking of. More like the MCU Subway Surfer. That's funny. Eric, Deadpool Wolverine just made $1 billion. Yeah, okay then, let's talk about that. Kevin Feige, you see what happens when you make a Marvel movie that people actually want to see, with characters they want to see, and with no bullshit agendas, or gender politics or any garbage nonsense like that, where, you know, Feige's been always looking for pats on the back from people. This movie's got nothing to do with Feige. It's got everything to do with Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, and 20th Century Fox for taking the risks they did with these characters and making it a success. But Feige has no idea what success means, because look at all this other stuff that we've just talked about that he's greenlit. And he also did a terrible job with the Daredevil show that 9 episodes in, they had to restart. And he still didn't do the right job, which is hire the showrunners and writers for season 3. Matthew, you've told me about Banshee a lot. I'm watching other things right now when I get time. I haven't got time to watch an additional show, but like I said, I'll keep it in mind. But I know it's got Homelander in it, you know, Anthony Starr, because he bragged about it. He kept plugging it in a Comic-Con panel or some panel that they were at. And so much so that Even Carl Urban was like, "Oh my god!" And then he's like, "Please watch it," because he goes like, "Only 2 people watched it," and you, Matthew, might be one of those 2. Charleston, I think Feige greenlighting a Ned spin-off is perfectly in keeping with the stupid decisions he makes. Selena says, "Hey Eric, have you heard that a movie that's coming out called Saturday Night? I saw the trailer and I think it has potential. It looks like something that you would like. You should check it out later." Okay. I'll look into it. Saturday, what's it called? Saturday Night. Alright, I'll look into it. Classic Brickman, you asked me what is my opinion on Young Sheldon if I've seen it. Several live streams ago, I reviewed the finale. I love Young Sheldon. Midway through season 4, it got a bit weak. I picked up later, but I think the first 3.5 seasons were solid. Love that show. Khan says, "Alright Eric, here's my review of Cape Crusader. Overall, I actually do like the show and some supporting cast, and I do like the setting they put Batman in, a rookie basically." Cool. Oh, that's your 1 of 3 of your reviews. Okay. Just stay tuned for when I do my versus video. It's a long versus video. It'll be like 25 to 30 minutes. Hi, Minecraft World. Fireboy says, "Eric, thoughts on The Punisher and Daredevil Born Again?" Yeah, I wish he wasn't in it. Daredevil Season 3 left a lot of stuff for Daredevil Season 4. I would have liked to see it just be the Daredevil characters. Bringing in Punisher, it feels like they're doing what the first 2 seasons of Daredevil did, which is they're bringing in other characters. And it's like it dilutes the show. It takes the focus away from Daredevil. So they should keep the focus on Daredevil, because that's what Season 3 did. That's what it did, what made it great. So that's what I think. I think I got another Streamlabs chat. Oh, take care, Spirit Hero. Thanks for joining. I really appreciate it. I've got another Streamlabs chat from someone, I think. Let's see. Oh no, it's the same one from earlier. My phone just got it now. That was bizarre. It really was, Jess. That, especially with guns later. The final action scene. Minecraft World says, "Eric, are you going to see Alien Romulus?" Yes, I will be. I'm actually looking forward to seeing that. Disappointingly, though, the movie's only gotten a 15 here in the UK. Whereas the Alien movies, the really violent ones, always got an 18. So this movie's going to be violent, but I don't think it's going to be as violent as the other Alien movies. So I'm going to predict it now. The chestburster scenes and the alien death scenes, they're not going to be as gory as what we've seen in many of the previous Alien movies, especially the first 2, but especially part 2, when that alien chestburster came out of that woman who says "kill me." That I don't think it'll be as violent as that. Movie Fan 2002. Thank you very much for the $2 super chat. Like I always say, these super chats help a lot, guys, so thank you. Movie Fan 2002 says, "Hot take, Crystal Skull, then Temple of Doom." I honestly think Crystal Skull is better than Temple of Doom. That's not really a hot take. I think that's... Indiana Jones 2 and 4 are constantly being debated over which one is better. And yeah, a lot of people play that game right there. I think Temple of Doom is better, but you've seen my versus video of Crystal Skull with Indiana Jones 5. I still really enjoy Crystal Skull. There's a lot to enjoy in there. MovieFan 2002 says, that's really weird because the movie is set between Alien and Aliens. Yeah, but apparently it's not going to be as violent as the second one because that one still gets an 18 here in the UK. At least last I checked. So yeah, that will be slightly disappointing. I was hoping for another 18 movie, but it's not gonna be. And it could have been. Those chestburster scenes could be super brutal. Then again, Alien Covenant was also 15, wasn't it? Well, that was quite bloody, so... who knows, maybe it could be still very bloody, but I think it could definitely have been bloodier. If it's not got an 18 here in the UK, it means there was a lot of room for it to be bloodier, and it isn't. Yes, King of the Monsters, I did, and I answered it. It was your Streamlabs chat about people in your Discord, in a Discord server, who are blaming Dave Filoni. If that's what it is, yeah, I've already talked about that. There's a lot of people that are going to be blaming it because there's a lot of people on YouTube who are constantly saying Dave Filoni is a Kathleen Kennedy, like, you know, traitor type thing. You know, he's working for her. Ignore them. There's a lot of these people who are just trying to get more views, and they're struggling, so they're trying to, like, they can't really continue to exist unless they have a villain to point to, and they don't have one, so that's why they keep pointing at Dave Filoni. Because they used to defend Dave Filoni before, but not anymore. I answered that too. Oh! How could... King of the Monsters, how could I have missed that? I'm sorry, buddy. I don't know how I missed it. It was right there. I can see it too. I'm sorry, bud. Okay. King of the Monsters said, the Matt Reeves versus Michael Bay warrants an interesting comparison. Which four movie packed had better VFX? Rise, Dawn, War, and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, or Transformers 1 to 4? Weta versus ILM, if you will. And you give me a reference image. Let me see here. What image have you sent me, bud? Let's see. Ah, you've sent me this. Let me see. Can I, is there a way I can just drag and drop this image into my streaming software? So I don't have to save it. Let's see if I can do that. Okay, that sounds like it will just mess up my software. Let me just save it and I'll bring it into the chat. Okay. Live stream number 37, I think we're on right now. Okay, let's import this into the stream and look at the comparison between ILM and Weta. So where are you? Nope. Here we go. Yeah, the joys of editing whilst you're live. Not so joyful. Alright, let's paste it here. You're not gonna see me for a bit because I'm gonna just let you guys all see these images. There we go. Okay, so essentially he's saying with these movies, it's ILM versus Weta. Not necessarily Michael Bay versus Matt Reeves, because Matt Reeves only directed 2 of these movies, Dawn and War, whereas Michael Bay directed all of these Transformers films. I would say both are very impressive, definitely. But still, the special effects that are better are the apes, because there's a lot of interactions between the apes. the apes have a lot of real textures that we've seen in real life, so we can actually compare it to what we've seen in real life. And they have a lot of facial expressions, the apes do, whereas the Transformers, they are machines that, like huge towering machines that go around walking about and everything, but we've got no real image to compare that to, except for the parts that they've got constructed themselves with. So we can say it looks real and stuff, and it does look very good, but no, there's so much more to admire when you're looking at the apes than when you're looking at the Transformers. So I highly believe that the effects are better when you're watching the ape movies, because you're always looking at them in awe at the apes and thinking, wow, how did they do that? That looks amazing. So I would definitely say the effects are better with the apes, if to be quite frank, I think. Pop culture fan, I agree. Matt Reeves is a great director. The CGI is sick, Saeed. The CGI in both of those is amazing. Jess says the Transformers can talk, but the apes cannot. What are you talking about? The apes are always talking. Even if they're not saying words, they're still making these ape sounds. Or if not that, the apes eventually talk later. Even Maurice ended up talking in War for the Planet of the Apes. But there are always those apes that talk. There's not all of them, but quite a few of them do. So yeah, Batman 235 says Kevin Feige shouldn't be fired because it wasn't his fault. What wasn't his fault? Why do you think it wasn't his fault? Because he has control over all of this. So why wouldn't it be his fault? This is his baby, essentially. He should be taking care of it, but he didn't. If he was taking care of it, he would have let Doctor Strange show up at the end of WandaVision and fight Wanda and snap his fingers and stop that evil she was doing with magic. But instead, Feige says that he wasn't going to put him in because A, this is Wanda's story, which makes no sense because these characters can cross over anyway. And B, he actually said this, if you look it up in an interview, he goes that because it'll be like Doctor Strange coming in saying, I'm white, let me teach you how magic works. And it's like, well, he's a master magician, so of course he should be able to. Batman 235, it is not Bob Chapek. That is what the people were doing when they wanted to just blame someone else other than themselves. Hollywood does this all the time. They always want to point the blame on someone else, not on themselves. What they wanted to do is say that, yeah, it's never our fault, it's the other people's fault, and that's what they call in Hollywood, which is called failing upwards. Now, something that Hollywood did when everything got political is rather than pointing the finger at a producer or an actor or someone else on the food chain in Hollywood, they started to point the finger at us, the audience. And once they did that, that is where people started to get pissed off, because they were now trying to say, yeah, it's not us, it's just the racists out there who didn't watch the movie, or the sexists out there. Who was that one moron who was, that actor who was gay, but he was in that movie called Bros? It was supposed to be a gay romance movie, and he was blaming mainstream audiences and saying how homophobic they are, that they didn't come to see his movie because it opened very poorly in 5th place. That guy, he voices Timon in the live-action Lion King. That guy, for example, was also trying to point the blame at someone, and he pointed it at the audience. So, yeah, the reason they blame Bob Chapek is because they can blame him now and say, yeah, it was all on him. But keep in mind, these projects take years to make. Bob Chapek wasn't even there for a year. And the MCU was sucking even before Bob Chapek came in. And they tried to say, oh, it was his fault. Billy Eichner, that's it, Charleston. And they're also trying to say as well that it was Bob Chapek who made Lightyear. No, he didn't. Lightyear was greenlit by Bob Iger, and it took about 4 or 5 years for them to make that movie because animation takes a long time. So that was all a Bob Iger choice. So much of this was Bob Iger choices, but then when they says, yeah, we're just going to put all the blame on Bob Chapek. So, no, it's all on Feige. He has the control. He's been limiting control of certain directors, and it's all on him. Do you seriously think that after the Russos did Endgame and Infinity War, that Disney would say, okay, now we're going to control you from here? No, they said to make more and make whatever you want to make, and he did make whatever he wanted to make. Whatever he wanted to make. Remember, he kept pushing the Captain Marvel and the Eternals, and he also pushed for the Marvels as well. Look how bad that turned out. He also pushed for an Eternals 2, but Bob Iger says no. He thinks it's going to be a definite flop. So yeah, no, it's just ridiculous. It really is. So don't buy into that. They're trying to tell you it's Bob Chapek because they want to blame anyone but themselves. But really, it's their fault. They should put the blame on themselves, but they're not going to. They want to save their job and say it was someone else's fault. Why do you think there's a lot of these bad producers in Hollywood that make terrible movies, yet somehow they're still employed? And they're still controlling other directors. Look at Avi Arad, look what he did to Spider-Man 3. He screwed up Spider-Man 3, he's still at the company. So don't trust when they say, oh, it's Bob Chapek, or oh, it's this person. Always question it, because they're always trying to put the blame on someone else. We have got to be smarter when that happens and be like, we don't just say, oh, okay then, I'll blame that person. You'd be like, no, look at the timeline of it. Bob Chapek was only there for a bit. He wasn't there for much, and these movies take years to make. So all those years ago, before the scripts were even written, before they were even shot, who greenlit these projects? It was Bob Iger. So, yeah, it wasn't Bob Chapek. It was Bob Iger who greenlit them, and it was Kevin Feige who wanted them to be greenlit in the first place, who proposed the idea for them. And, well, look at how crap it's turned out. The one movie that they made that people liked was Deadpool and Wolverine, and that was the most recent one. And that one was a huge success. The reason it was a huge success is because it's what audiences want, and Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman know what audiences want, but Kevin Feige doesn't care. He keeps changing things. Look what he's done with Taskmaster. Taskmaster in Black Widow was practically like an exact replica of Deadpool in X-Men Origins Wolverine. They took a character who was known for talking a lot, essentially shut him up, and then they also had the villain of the movie control him, just like they had the villain control Taskmaster in the new movie. And they also gender swapped it for no reason, even though throughout the whole movie it was clearly a guy in that costume, and a guy's build is more intimidating. So what did they do? They says that, yeah, we'll keep a guy in the costume, but still it's a skinny woman in the end. It's like even Marvel knew that made no sense, so that's why they got that a skinny woman build would not be intimidating. So they got a stunt guy, to basically be in the suit. So yeah, don't trust when they say that stuff. It's obvious who's to blame for this stuff. Jess says, Avi Arad is still going to make these stupid villain movies until he is rich after Venom 3. I'll tell you, if these movies fail, he's still going to have a job, fire other people, and keep pocketing his own pockets with money, even though he's the one that lost the studio a lot of money for these stupid decisions he makes. Same with that Amy Pascal as well. And don't be surprised if these people who do all these failures end up getting promoted. Because that's how shitty the system is. Gwen says, well, I'm out. Take care and good night. Good night to you, Gwen. Thanks for showing up to the stream. I really appreciate it. Rohan says, what are you eating? Just eating some cookies. They're called Crunchy Melt, so they got some Oreo cream in it. Doing these streams can take a lot out of you, especially in this attic where we're in the summer and it's getting quite hot up here. This is where it gets the hottest, and I have to do these streams. It really, takes it out of me. You tend to get hungry a lot and stuff. I remember one time I felt like I was going to pass out during the stream. It's that time I ate on the stream. So yeah. Pop Culture Fan says, hey Eric, you should make more videos like your video where you improve that DC video game. Are you talking about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League when I talked about that? But yeah, no, I've got a game show on my Patreon and on my YouTube membership, so if you want to see more gaming videos, go ahead and subscribe to that. Like I said, I'm also going to be doing a video on this at some point where I actually show the original DS. And I'm going to talk about this essentially and compare it with my DS Lite that I had growing up and how it was my first ever console and all that stuff. Let's see, what other questions do I have here? Khan says, Eric, I've seen so many YouTubers join the dark side, scam their fans, and done awful things. Please, Captain Eric, I beg of you, do not join the dark side and become all evil. I promise you I will not. The only thing that I do is you've seen, whenever I try to get, like, you know, further, like, you know, look, this is a career I'm trying to make. Whenever I do it, like with Patreon or YouTube memberships, I'm always trying to give you guys something in return. So whenever I try to, like, you know, get, you know, like revenue, more money and things to make this a living, it is always so I can make more content and do this for a living, which is so hard to do. But every time I do it, it's not just like what some channels do, which I've seen, where they say just give us money, like just donate it and that's it. No, I always try to give you something in return. And when it comes to like my Patreon and my YouTube memberships, you will be getting a lot in return. There's a lot of videos I'm working on. It's like non-stop. I give you trailer reactions, there's game shows I give as well, and even Let's Watch episodes. I've done a lot of Let's Watch episodes. I've done it on the Five Nights at Freddy movie when it came out for Halloween. I've done some Christmas Let's Watch videos with Let's Watch the Grinch, the original 90s, 30s, was it 1930s animated version? Or 1950s animated version. And then I did a Let's Watch of the Jim Carrey version. Those are up on my Patreon, where you can watch those and see my thoughts on watching those for the first time. Or the Jim Carrey movie, the first time in a long time. And I've also got a lot of, like, right now I'm watching through Invincible Season 2. I've just got the final episode to watch now. It's on my Patreon. And then after that, I'll be doing content on my YouTube memberships, where we'll be watching Loki together. And that'll be for members only. So, yeah, I've got a lot of those coming. So I'm always trying to make sure that I can give you guys good content in return. Charleston, I think I already did make much. Let's see. I have, I had much, but unfortunately I didn't give a link for it, which I'm kind of sad I didn't. You see this? This is a Eric Carter t-shirt with the "Let the Battle Commence" hashtag with the fist bump. I've got two of these. One is a short sleeve, then there's this longer sleeve one. Would you guys buy merch like that if I sold it? Or if I had a site up? Would you? I'm curious. I didn't go through with it, but if I get enough demand, then yeah, I would make merch. The G Gamer says, I'm glad you read the paid messages, because a lot of times bigger streamers ignore those and don't bother to read them. I know, I cringe every time I see that, and it's a reason why I don't tend to, do super chats to other content creators that I watch, because I don't know if they'll even answer it. So I can't imagine how that feels to people. So yeah. But yeah, the merch thing is something that I actually told patrons a while back. It was something I was going to do. I think it was during the pandemic. But I don't know why. I was just not 100% happy or something with it. I don't know. I was nervous about doing merch. And I never gave the link out. Would you guys be interested in merch? Sonic says, can I buy that? G-Gamer's like, wait, Eric has merch. I didn't know. Sonic says, I'll pay $100 for that. Jess says, wow, I want that shirt. Jess, it looks great. That shirt looks sick. That sure looks good, says Rohan. That is a relief, Captain Eric. Big Bash says, Eric, do you go to sleep after you finish a stream? Never really go to sleep straight away. I do other things. Right now, when I'm done, I'm going to get back to editing my versus video of Batman the Animated Series versus the Cape Crusader. And I'm also going to be doing a video where I talk about... What was the other one? Oh yeah, the Snow White video that I'm thinking of doing as well. I'm going to be editing that. So yeah, there's stuff. There's stuff I'm working on, basically. So what do you guys think of that? I seem to have gotten a reaction here, which I didn't expect. Would you guys want merch like that? Would you actually buy merch like that if I actually had a site where I put it up? I mean, we'd start simple. We'd see how it goes with those basic shirts and things. Sonic says, I'll give you early access to my next game. Also, what do you think of Cape Crusader? I'm not going to tell you that yet, Batman 235. I'm working very hard, endless hours on a video about it. Khan says, have you heard about this YouTuber called Doomblazer? What are your thoughts on him? I've not heard of that YouTuber, no. Man, Sonic and Jess really want that shirt. Those were samples they sent me. King of the Monster says, probably couldn't afford it after the Streamlabs I send. What does... Like, I appreciate that, but it wouldn't have cost £3 with the Streamlabs you sent. You've sent another one. Let's write that down. I'm sorry, I'm not really... Oh, you only sent it a minute ago. Okay, I thought I was not on top of it. Let's... Okay, that's a £1 super chat. You say, remember how I did Batman vs. Godzilla 2 weeks ago? Here's a fairer matchup against Godzilla with another notable DC superhero. Okay. Looks like King of the Monsters 2021 has more posters to be showing. Yeah, buddy, I'm gonna show one version that I think looks better. I'll show them both. Who am I talking about? Alright, there's one, and here is two. And it also, I'll show that in a second. It looks like I've got another... Gary Loke, I'll answer your question. Let me just quickly show King of the Monsters 2 posters that he sent. And then I'll read your question. I'll give it some thoughts, because that's actually a very good question, that is. Okay. Let's see. Again, you might not see me. Yeah, he's given 2 posters. Superman vs. Godzilla, Dawn of Extinction, and he's given another one that looks... It's got less destruction, it's got more of a blue color tone to it. They both look very good. But I think the blue color looks better than the foggy green color on the left, so I like the second one better. Oh, is that what it was? King of the Monsters 2021, okay. Buddy, the only way I can make... Jess says, Eric, will you make these shirts for all of us? The only way I can actually make these shirts is if you actually buy them. Because that's the whole point of these merchandising websites where they say they want to partner with you, is that you have to share the link with your viewers. And when they buy the merch, the first couple revenue goes to the company, and then after that, I get a percentage as well. So it all comes down to... you know, if you're willing to buy the merch, basically. That's why they call it merch. It's meant to be a way of supporting the creator, which is, you know, me. You sent another one before this one, King of the Monsters. Oh, you have, haven't you? So let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, you've sent another one. Okay, then let's... Okay, I'll do that, and then I'll answer Gary Loke's question, which is a very good question. That first link is not... Oh, that's because I just missed the H at the beginning. Oh, that's actually quite a packed poster that you've done. You've been very busy with that poster. That's, a lot. I like the first one better than the second one. I'll say that right off the bat. The first one looks great. Like, really good. Okay, time to import them in. Oh, let's... get rid of this one. Okay, and let's bring these two in. Okay, here's my favorite one, which is the first one he's done, and then here is his second one. Alright, there's the first one. And there's the second one. They look very good, but that first one looks a lot better. Dead Wolf says, Eric, have to leave. See you next week and have a great night. You too, buddy. Take care. Thank you very much for joining the stream. King of the Monsters, do it or you're getting no bathroom breaks. The G-Gamer, I was always wondering about the Puss in Boots 1 versus 2 versus 1 video, because hasn't that video been in production since March? Yeah, but it's been on and off with other videos as well. But yeah, that is next on the list, because I'm doing that alongside the Batman one. It's the script that's tricky with the Puss in Boots one. I feel like I want to do a proper comparison, and that's the part that's the tricky part. Okay, so those are the two posters. Now let me find that Super Chat, where one of you asked a question. There you go, Gary Loke says, favorite Avatar episode. And let me just quickly write this down. It's $3 Australian. Favorite Avatar episode? Mine's Zuko Alone. Zuko Alone's a great episode, especially about Zuko's origin and how demented Azula was. But my favorite episode, it'd be the final four parts. I absolutely love that episode. That to me is like all counts as one. Another episode I really like, if you want a single episode, is The Storm. That Storm episode was great. Talked about Zuko's backstory with his father and Aang's backstory. It really was phenomenal what they did. Ooh. Yeah, those were cool posters, weren't they? Thanks, by the way, Gary Loke, for the super chat. That was as always, I really appreciate it. Jess loves the Ember Island players. Yeah, that was a very fun episode as well. I really liked especially where Zuko, in the only part of the story that really feels like it's moving forward in that episode, is when Zuko talks to Toph about his uncle, how he says that this whole play is like replaying all my mistakes. He goes, it's all good and well for you, fighting bad guys and being strong, but me, it's a reminder of all my mistakes and how he treated his uncle. And then when she tells him that she spoke to the uncle and how he talks about you and all that, that was very nice. And then when it ends with her hitting him, he goes, what was that for? And then she's like, that's how I show affection. That was all funny. Sonic says, King of the Monsters should do a Captain Eric versus Godzilla poster. That would be funny, wouldn't it? Sim says, hey Eric, have you seen Longlegs? I haven't seen Longlegs, no. Sorry. I'll see it at some point, but I haven't seen it. Gary Loke says, how would you rank the 4 Korra villains? Amon, Unalaq, Zahir, and Kuvira. Amon, Zahir, Kuvira, and then Unalaq. That's how I'd rank them. King of the Monsters 2021 says, so why do you like the Avengers poster over the Just League poster? It just looks more professional. It looks more together. The other one you can tell looks more fan-made, whereas the one that I liked looks more professional. Still has a bit of ways to go, but it looks the most like in order. They're positioned in very good places, all the characters on that poster, including Godzilla. Classic Brickman says, favorite character from Young Sheldon? I like all the characters. I don't know if I've got a favorite one. Let me see. Because they're all good together. It's funny to see the husband and wife sort of like badger each other, and then when the husband when she stares at him, when she stares at the husband with like an annoyed look, and then he tries to smile, and then he's like that or something. Like, that's always funny. I don't think I have a favorite character, you know. I like all of them. I don't really think it's one of the shows where you can pick a favorite character, because they all just work together so well. Maybe I'll say Georgie, because when he's being dumb, he can be very funny. But his younger sister Missy is also very funny, because she just says things, or the gossip side of her, how she's so happy to see bad things happen just because it's great gossip for her. That's always funny, that is. But no, I'd say probably Georgie if I had to pick. Okay, guys, 3 more minutes. If there's any more questions you want to get to the top of the pile, that's what the super chats are there for. That's what the Streamlabs chats are there for. But 3 minutes, then I'm going to get out of here. I want to thank all of you for watching this stream. And I got much more views from the stream this time. And a lot of you guys have stayed here for a lot longer as well. So thank you very much for that. Matthew Club says, "Hey Eric, did you watch The Punisher? If so, tell me if it's good so I can go watch it." Which Punisher are you talking about? The show? The first movie with Thomas Jane? What are you talking about? Supersonic Adventure? I was going to back in the day, but then I never ended up doing it. I don't know. We'll see what happens when Sonic 3 comes out. When Sonic 3 comes out, I'll probably do Sonic 2 versus Sonic 3. Because I've, you know. I will say, I think, if I can remember, because I've only seen Sonic 2 once, I think I enjoyed Sonic 2 better. But I liked the human arc with Sonic and his friend, Donut Lord. I like that better in the first one than in the second one. It was nice in the second one, though. It felt like he was their kid, which was cool. Oh. The Punisher TV show. It's not worth watching, really. There's some really good, cool stuff in it. If you want a better season of The Punisher, watch Daredevil Season 2. That was very much his show as well. And that was so much better. So much better than his own show. I was looking so forward to his own show, but his own show was disappointing. First episode was good, but there was a lot of filler after that. Season 2 of Daredevil is really good as well. Season 3 of Daredevil is by far my favourite. I think I gave that season a 10 out of 10. First time I saw it, I think I gave it a 9. Second time, 10. Big Bash says, "Eric, if you were in charge of a Planet of the Apes movie, how would you do it?" I don't know. You need time to think about it, and I've not thought about it, so I don't want to give a rash answer. But I would definitely try to do it more in the vein of the Matt Reeves movies and the Rise of the Ape movie. Not the Kingdom of the Apes movie. I didn't like that movie as much as any of the others. I haven't heard that song, Matthew, sorry. King of the Monsters, you sent your last batch of posters. I hope there's not too many. Okay, there's 3 of them. Let's... Okay. Let's copy and import these. And then I'll sign out. Unless, of course, any of you have any super chats or Streamlabs chats. As always, I'll stay. I'll stay for the next 24 hours if those are there, because whenever people pay to ask questions, I always make sure I answer them no matter what. So, okay. Save. What the heck? Oh. Okay. These are the 3 posters that he sent. Like, do you make these as I'm streaming, or have you made these earlier on and you're just sending them to me now? Okay, this one's not going to be able to fit, I don't think, so I'll hide this one and just show you 2 for now. Alright. Okay, there you go. Those are 2 of the posters. The one with Daredevil, not Daredevil, Deadpool sitting on Godzilla's nose with Godzilla looking at him is funny. The Penguin looks like a Die Hard poster, I think, is what he's done. That building looks like the building from Die Hard. And then the 3rd poster is this one right here. So yeah, those are very good looking posters. Hey Eric, before The Incredible Hulk, Liv Tyler as Betty Ross was in 2 Michael Bay movies like Armageddon and Pearl Harbor. Did you know that? I think I knew that she was in Pearl Harbor. Armageddon, I've not seen that movie. I remember seeing posters when I was a kid, but it was rated 15 and I don't think I was allowed to see it. Was it 15 or 12? I can't remember, but it didn't come on very often, so I wasn't able to catch it, unfortunately. But I hear that it was a silly movie, Armageddon, from what I hear. I don't know if it's really good or not. Or am I thinking of Pearl Harbor? Was Pearl Harbor the silly movie? Okay, guys, that I think is going to be it. It was a great time, as always, having these live streams with you. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for donating to me. That is always incredibly helpful. And by the way, like I said, be sure to follow me on Patreon. It's just $1 if you want to gain access to all my trailer reactions. And I've got a trailer reaction of Snow White up there, and I'm going to have a trailer reaction of Mufasa up there as well. And literally just for as little as $1. And you can also gain access to that through YouTube memberships if you don't want to go to Patreon. But yeah, I've got plenty more content coming up. My final episode of Let's Watch Invincible Season 2 is also going to be coming up soon. And then also, I've got more on my game show coming, and then we're going to be doing live streams for members only on YouTube, where we'll all together watch Loki Season 1, and it'll be my first time ever watching it. So, thanks as always very much everyone for watching, for supporting me on Patreon, for supporting me on my YouTube channel, and for all these donations you give throughout these live streams. And I can't wait to speak to you guys next time as well. And yeah, I was just reading the previous. I was just reading the previous Streamlabs chat from King of the Monsters 2021. That's why I was a bit slow there. But anyway, fantastic always chatting with you guys. Thank you very much. I'll catch all of you in the next live stream. Take care.